WHCR 90.3 FM, late night New York. Right now, man, I got a special guest. First, it's your boy King Haas, live and direct. I got a special guest, man. If you not in tune what's going on, man, you got your head in the rock. This man's been running this city for years. Literally. Jack of all trades. Raps. DJs. Radio show. The Nutcracker Man.
Let's not forget that.
Promotion. Whatever you could think of, he doing it. And one thing you ain't gonna do, you not gonna outwork him. The infamous Amadeuz is in the building.
What's up? And you one of the first people that said my name right.
Yeah.
Because I done been in mad situations and they fucked my name up all the way.
Yeah. I almost messed it up just now. I ain't gonna lie.
It's all good.
You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you for pulling up.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
First and foremost, man, I appreciate you because I know you're a busy dude and you got a lot going on, brother. And I appreciate you just, pulling up and showing us love, man. Like I told you off camera, you resurrecting the city.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Literally.
Thank you.
So, but we gonna go ahead and take it to the humble beginnings.
The early work, the Bronx work.
The Bronx work. Young Inf, teenage Inf, preteen Inf. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to even want to get involved in the culture?
So a lot of people don't know that I got drafted by the Orioles.
Okay.
As a catcher. And I played a season for the Frederick Keys, which is the lower AA team. Single A team. And then, like the typical New York pressures, low income, poverty. I ended up, catching the jokes. I went to jail. Now I'm running the city with 2 felonies, right? So it's like I have no opportunity. Because once you got, there's different levels to felonies, right? You can have like a narcotics felony where you can still operate. But when you have a violent felony, like opportunity is completely changed for you. You know what I'm saying? So now I can't get a city job. I have no chance to have government assistance of any kind. So, hip hop was, it was like a way out for me in a sense where, I saw opportunity to learn the culture in a different way. And of course, not make excuses, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, they make excuses like why we can't do this, why we can't do that. You know what I mean? And, coming from Kingsbridge, it was like, there's no excuses. No. You come out your building, all you see is project buildings, right? So you're set up to fail, as a young guy. So, I chose the path and ultimately it worked out for me, right?
Definitely
that was kind of like my vision. Once baseball didn't work out, it's like, okay, what am I going to do next? Well, there's this thing called hip hop. Let's navigate through that and make it make sense.
Copy. See, that's a dope story. That's an inspirational story, man. Because like you said, at the end of the day, there is no excuses or what have you. So basically, you was in a position where your back was against the wall. You had to make something out of nothing.
Yeah. And a lot of people from our communities, low poverty communities, we tend to use race as a crutch. Mm-hmm. Like people, so I'm on Shade 45 and, it's such a big audience. They don't understand how New Yorkers operate. They don't understand how, like, no matter your skin color, when you're from low income situations, we all identify as one. Everybody in this room identifies as one person, right? They kind of don't understand that. So, it's like you gotta look at the surroundings around you and figure out how to make it make sense for you. Mm-hmm. Like when you walk down your block right now, you walk down Katona Avenue, there's not a white man that owns a structure on your block.
That's a fact.
Right? You go down the block, the Chinese man owned. I went to the Dominican spot to get the couple ice. The Dominicans, is this person, that person. So when you look at it on a larger scale, the system is actually made for you to win, but it's up to you to remove yourself from what you're taught. Using the racial crutch in a sense, right? And I kind of understood that always when I was a kid. That's kind of how I always looked at the world, in a sense. So that's why, like, even navigating hip hop, I've been able to do so many different things because there's no excuses. We only put limitations on ourselves. So if you feel like you can't achieve a goal, that's you limiting yourself. The sky's the limit. And matter of fact, there's a limit beyond the sky. Mm-hmm. But it's up to you to go and achieve that. So, that's kind of something that I just saw when I was younger. And I've been able to apply it, especially when it comes to rap music and hip hop and things like that.
So, like I was telling you off camera, man, when I first started hearing about you, it wasn't through actually you, being the artist. Mm-hmm. It was through you directing videos. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of dope, some of the favorite rappers that we, RP Prodigy.
Yeah.
you know, shout out to
Peace,
Nutso,
Prodigy.
a whole bunch of people.
Yo, shout out Nutso, it's my brother.
You know what I'm trying to say? That you know, shows kind of like. So how did you come across, you know, just, you know, getting involved with video editing?
So you know, I grew up in a part of the Bronx where we never had nobody famous. Nobody successful came from my part of town. So it's like, how am I gonna navigate into hip hop to make it make sense, right? So, you know, we all understand that sex sells, right? So,
Definitely.
you know, I just grabbed some girls from my block. We started this thing called the Get At 'Em Girls. And then I just started navigating through. I was casting music videos. We casted Fabulous, shout out to my wife, 50 Cent. Like, we was running the videos up. And then at some point, I'm like, you know what? I need to learn how to shoot videos, right? Because I'm standing behind here, but the nigga that's in front of me, he's making more money than me. I'm putting the same amount of work. He's just showing up with a camera. I'm putting the whole play, and I'm bringing the pizza, the liquor, the girls, this, that, the whole vibe. So I need to be in his position. So, you know, my wife, early on, that's when I first came home, she bought me my first camera, and I taught myself how to shoot.
That support.
You know, I taught myself how to shoot, and initially I was editing Lil Wayne, just a lot of big videos. I was editing them, and then I had met Papoose along the journey. He had a record called 6 a.m. with Jadakiss, Jim Jones, and Ice-T. He was like, yo, listen, I need this video done in 17 hours. Like, literally, he's like, yo, I need this video done in 17 hours. We got Ice-T pulling up tomorrow. I said, bet. So he gave me the majority of the footage. Said, let's just shoot one more scene so I can have my own touch into the video. So if you watch the 6 a.m. video, there's a scene where he's walking down the street handcuffed by the cops. I shot that part, and he trusted my vision, and that's when I got my first editing, my first director's credit as a videographer. And then from there,
Sky was the limit.
Yeah, Sky was the limit. I shot Fetty Wap, like you said, mentioned. I shot Prodigy's last music video before he passed away. And a lot of big acts. But along the way, I was learning the game at the same time, understanding that at the end of the day, you know, the artist, the person on the mic is almost like a puppet, whether you intend to be or, you know, that's just kind of like how it is. You know, who's the people pushing the buttons behind the scenes? Who's the guys that make things go? When they snap their fingers, if the owner of this building comes in and everybody moves, that's the guy that I want to know.
Fact.
And that's kind of always been my mindset. And then from there, I just been kind of just build myself, but also keeping the Bronx, the New York mentality that at the end of the day, again, like I said previously, like we only limiting ourselves.
That's a fact.
You know, so you know, and I just kind of been blessed to be in the position I'm in.
See, man, you giving game and dropping a lot of jewels, man. And I know you talk about, you know, your wife, your queen a lot.
Yeah.
So let people know, like, how important it is to have that foundation, that home base, especially, you know, being in this business and doing what you do.
I mean, that's the most important thing, because, you know, as a young minority, you know, we're irresponsible. You know, we come from single parent homes, so we don't understand what it is to have an actual family, right? We had kind of like have extended family. So, you know, my goal was to kind of create generational change. Everything you see me do is about generational change. Like, how can I change the cycle of my family? You know, how can I take my family out of a situation where they're paying some random Albanian guy rent every month and teach them about home ownership and get them out of New York and show them that there is a bigger world, because there is a bigger world out here. So, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of guys don't like to give it up, but I do. You know, you need that support of a woman, because unfortunately, like when we're young from the ghetto, women tend to be more mature than us, right? But you gotta trust their vision of what they have in you. And, you know, my queen, who's here right here, you know, she run my whole situation. She was the first person that saw that I could be who I wanted to be, and didn't judge me for where I was in my particular situation. You know, I kind of took that and ran with it, and I use it to my advantage, where people kind of use it as a crutch, or people kind of use it as something that's hindering them. Nah, I'm gonna take that. I got a support system. I don't need nobody else. Let's run it to the ground. So, you know, like I said, again, I'm blessed to be where I am.
That's a beautiful thing, because, you know, we live in a culture that doesn't glorify that at all. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it glorifies the exact opposite. So for you to actually be putting that in the forefront, and you running with that, man, you know what I mean? That's you creating a positive image for, you know, guys like me and the people just in the culture to let us know that.
I appreciate that.
It's cool. It's cool to have a family. It's cool to have a wife.
It's absolutely cool.
You know what I'm saying?
It's cool to pay a mortgage every month. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. Like, you don't got to be in the streets. There's more to life than that. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's kind of like the message that I preach, whether it comes to hip hop or whether it comes to family life or when it comes to like financial freedom or things like that. That's kind of the goal at the end of the day.
Definitely. So, you know, let's get to the DJing. So is that something that you always did? And
Nah.
So how did you come across, DJing?
So when I went on National Geographic, selling nutcrackers, a lot of people saw me on there. The guy that I work for, Lord Sear, at SiriusXM, he posted my
Shout
picture.
Shout to Lord Sear.
Yeah, shout to Lord Sear. So he posted my picture on Instagram. He's like, yo, who's this guy selling nutcrackers on National Geographic? And they brought me up as a guest initially. And then when he got his own show, he needed a cameraman because, camera will be my trade. Even though I didn't go to school for it, that is my trade. So they hired me initially as a cameraman, and then he had health issues. So then I worked my way from there. I started doing the news every day. I was doing the news for a year and a half, and then they had a slot for a DJ. So initially I was bringing like the top New York DJ. I'm bringing Self, I'm bringing Drewski, I'm bringing DJ Magic, DJ Will, like all the top DJs. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna learn how to DJ. While I'm putting other niggas on. Niggas ain't putting me on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Taught myself. So I literally bought a laptop. And one day I just taught myself how to DJ.
Wow.
Literally. Taught myself how to DJ. And, in the beginning it was rough. But, I figured it out.
Copy.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like how the whole cookie crumbled. Now I have 3 slots on Shade 45, right? So just that vision, like kind of always seeing it forward. You
see, you see, you're a go-getter. Once you I could tell once you put your mind to something, and you say you're gonna do it, no matter what, no matter how hard it is or whatever. Once you see the vision there, you're gonna go ahead, you're gonna jump into it, you're gonna make it happen or whatever, which is a beautiful, dope thing. So it's like, okay, so now you on Series 4 or 5. You have all this talent in the city, and you from the Bronx, especially, so it's a whole lot of talent around.
Yeah.
You got different artists coming at you left and right all the time. For those up-and-coming artists and independent artists who are trying to go ahead and take their music to the next level, what do you tell them?
I think a lot of artists from New York, because we're from New York, we're taught to be aggressive. We're taught to be passive aggressive. Not only are men aggressive, our women are aggressive, right? And a lot of people in the city have ego problems.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when I've been fortunate enough to travel the world, and I don't think what people realize is that the world is not backing New York the way that we think they are.
That's a fact.
Because we're all caught in a box. And, we're in this social media era, but the problem with social media is that social media is actually teaching you to be antisocial. So anyone that has a kid in here, you watch your kid all day. They're like fucking weirdos. They're like on the phone all day. They don't come outside. They don't want breakfast. They don't want lunch. It's a part of social programming, right? So I often say this on social media where it's like, New York is the only place that doesn't have a trace of its original roots. So when you look at every other part of the country, for example, like City Girls is popping, they kind of sound like original Miami. They sound like Uncle Luke. They sound like 2 Live Crew. Definitely. When you look at people from Atlanta, when you look at like Young Thug, this guy, that guy, they kind of still have the trap sound. When you look at the typical LA artists, they still have a little bit of West Coast funk. But when you look at New York City, you cannot correctly identify with your city. Like, don't let it fly over your head. These kids out here that are rapping, they do not sound like New York artists. You sound like what you've been socially programmed to sound like, which is like a guy from London and this. And that was purposely done that way because they want to control you. The record labels want to control you. These radio stations want to control you. And they don't want you to be talented. It's weird to me when I see an artist being satisfied with selling 20,000 units. We come from the day and age where guys are selling 500,000 out the gate. You're complaining about Spotify. You're complaining about your streams on Tidal, but you're not doing the education behind it, right? And it all starts here at the end of the day. So that's kind of just the typical problem with New York City. It's like you are from the Mecca of hip hop. You are from a city that's based on lyricism. And you followed a program that doesn't even matter at the end of the day.
It's funny how you
like it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It's funny how you say that because I spent a lot of time like in the Midwest and the South also, and they always say the same thing. They always say, "Yo, why y'all New York dudes don't rap like y'all from New York no more?"
It's because we've been programmed that way. So
You know?
so if you look at like a younger artist, let's say like Sexy Red, right? She's a young artist. I don't know where's she from, like Memphis or she from somewhere in the Midwest.
Somewhere in the Midwest.
But still, like when you listen to her music, it still identifies with people from her town. It identifies with UGK. It identifies with Master P. It identifies like there's nobody in our city that's on the radio right now that identifies with a Mobb Deep or a KRS-One.
That's a fact.
And why is it done that way? It's done purposely to diseducate your community.
And
So why do you support it?
you know, it's dope how, at least my next question, how, I ain't see, especially once the pandemic happened, I ain't see nobody really giving artists that wave, that platform like that. And then, Slade died. So everybody thinks that, okay, Slade's dead.
Rest in peace, K. Slade.
Yeah, it's RP Slade that, damn it, this thing gonna go downhill. But then you come, guys like you, couple Spazzos, couple other guys also, but I felt like you was one of the ones that kind of led the forefront as far as like creating that platform and giving the platform for the lyricists. So which leads me into the Punchline Academy.
Yeah. That is my baby, the Punchline Academy. So the Punchline Academy was something that I created in the pandemic. When we first went home, I had a cipher called Serious Cipher. So if you tapped in with like the real lyricists that are popping right now, like Benny the Butcher, Conway, OT the Real,
Ransom,
38 Special, Ransom, Che New York. These guys started at my cipher, but my name wasn't on it, right? It wasn't something that I owned because, again, we're dealing with corporations, right? So other people own my own product. I did like 50 ciphers on the Serious Cipher, but I didn't own it. So when we were able to go home during Corona, I said, I'm going to create something called the Punchline Academy. I was having guys battle on social media for a chance to get on Serious Cipher. And then at some point, they just said, listen, let's turn Serious Cipher to the Punchline Academy. Somebody was looking out for me and said, let's go, Inf. So, I've been blessed to do that. And, keeping the core principles of hip hop, but also I do want to now start engaging with the young artists because we need to define what a lyricist is. Right? I think we kind of like misinterpret, like, okay, you have to sound like a Nas or a Jay-Z. Like, I think like Lil Baby could rap.
Yeah, me too.
He got bars like Moneybagg Yo can rap. Like, I mess with them. So, like, all right, let's start defining, like, what is an actual rapper or a lyricist. So, the next phase of Punchline Academy is kind of spreading it around a little bit more across the country.
Dope. It's a beautiful thing where it's kind of like, it was years where, and I would hear from other artists how they just felt like, damn, it was guys that was starting to give up, man, because they felt like, oh no, I'm not into this drill nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna call it nonsense. Let me phrase that. I'm not into the drill genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to rap like I'm from Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do,
Yeah.
but they started to feel like nobody's hearing them. So now it's like the Bennies of the world, the 38 Specials of the world.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like that sound is starting to come back.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely or what have you. So it's just kind of like it's a different energy in hip hop right now that hasn't been there in a while. So now that we in the 50th year anniversary, and there's all these things going on or what have you. So where you feel that now that it's starting to come back to the essence where the sound of New York is, is getting to the next couple
I
years.
I think hip hop right now is very niche audience, right? So, if you follow someone on social media, as an example, you follow them for a certain reason. So if you follow like Ken Stars, you follow him for comedy. If you follow Justin LeBoy, you follow him for memes. It's the same thing with rap music. Right, artists like Lil Uzi Vert, who may be considered one of the top artists in the world, don't get his record played on the radio.
That's a fact.
But it's a very niche audience. It's like, you tap into the people that you want to hear.
That's a fact.
And the same thing with rap music. There is a certain core audience that want to hear guys like Griselda and guys like Ransom and even guys like Inphamus Amadeuz. But there's a certain audience that want to hear Glorilla. There's a certain audience that want to hear Gunna. There's a certain audience that want to hear that. So it's really about tapping into your market. The best advice I could give you is like when we was all on the block trapping, you didn't have 150 people or a million people following you. You had a good 50 people that was pulling up, that was copping from you, and you made a living off that.
That's a fact.
Right? It's the same thing with music. You don't need, because we live in an era where it's like we're judging people based on what we see other people do. So you kind of feel like, oh, I need 1 million followers. Nah, you don't need that. Get your core fan base, get people to tap in with you, and run it up from there. So, bars, I do think that there is a level of lyricism that is coming back, but in a sense, lyricists never left, because if you can name the top artists in the entire 5 decades of rap music, they all can rap.
Yeah.
We can sit here, go around the room. Who's the best rappers right now? Drake, he got bars. J. Cole, bars. Kendrick, bars. It doesn't matter what era you in. It still comes back to lyricism. I just think that artists have to get back to a point where you can express yourself in a sense where the listener can know you without ever meaning you. That's what music is missing. So, when I heard Illmatic, I felt like I was in Queensbridge.
That's a fact.
I felt like I was on the block. I felt like I had 2 for 5 red tops. And when you hear artists, nowadays, the music only identifies one emotion. So you hear the turn up. It's all about the turn up, the turn up. Okay, so what about your real life situation? What about your situation with your baby moms? What about the fact that you can't pay rent this month? What about the fact that you in a situation right now where the owner might come in and you know what I'm saying? Like, where is that element of hip hop? So ultimately, hopefully, at some point, we'll get some new creative minds in control that can properly identify where we need to be as a community.
Now, let's keep it on those lines. You're a dope artist as well.
Thank you.
I see you starting to get back into, doing music yourself as well.
Thank you.
So it's kind of like, how do you balance, your music as well as all your other responsibilities? Because I know how being an artist, that's a passion. You know what I'm saying? That's a passion, and once you start getting into that mode of recording or whatever, you kind of get distracted from everything else.
I mean, it's definitely difficult for me to record at this point because I'm wearing so many hats, and I'm in a position where I'm putting others before me, right? So, I'm blessed to have my album go gold. I don't think anyone in this room know anyone personally that had an album go gold, like certified by the Recording Academy. So I'm blessed to do that, but I kind of look at rap music right now as almost secondary, like as far as me being a lyricist. I don't think that's, although I can rap, I can rap with elite guys, that's probably not my purpose. Like what is your actual purpose in life? And that's also a part of being successful. It's identifying your strengths. When my deal with Def Jam had kind of went left, I looked around the room and I was like, I got a bunch of guys with me that only know how to rap. No one know how to do artwork. No one know how to record. No one know how to mix and master. No one know how to do braids. No one know how to do anything else. So I just chose to figure all that out. And this is kind of like what you're seeing right now in real time. So although I love rap music, I've definitely have fell a little out of love with it in a sense. And I kind of like the behind the scenes creative process more. And it's crazy to hear that because I know when guys hear me rapping, like, yo, you elite, you can really, but I don't think that's my calling at the end of the day. I think what I'm doing right now is what it is.
That's dope. That's a beautiful thing. Because, we live in the culture of a lot of people are selfish. So a lot of people will go ahead and put themselves before going ahead and looking at the other people, man. So the fact that you actually willing to go ahead and take a step back and put other people in position is a beautiful thing, because you really don't see this in our culture like that too much.
But we have to do it. Like I said, someone has to do it at the end of the day. So, being an MC, it's an ego hit. Not to rap. Like, that was like the biggest ego hit that I ever took in my life, where I'm like, I'm not gonna rap no more. Let me figure out how to shoot a camera. Let me figure out how to be in your position, right? Let me figure out how to be in this person's position. But again, like I said, someone has to do it, and it's also about taking a leap of faith in yourself and figuring out how to make it work.
See, so being an entrepreneur, you wear all the hats that you wear. I know it's probably stressful, a lot of things you deal with. So, for other up-and-coming entrepreneurs, just, go over the pros and cons of being a business owner.
Yeah. So being a business owner, your day never stops, right? So you clock in when you open your eyes, and you clock out when you close your eyes. And you have to be prepared for that. So you can kind of make a decision on what type of person you want to be. Do you want to be the type of person that goes in and clocks in every day and work 9 to 5 and you're limited on your income? Or do you want to be the type of person that's going to kind of be in a commission-based system but there's no limitation to what it is. And kind of understand at the end of the day, the tax code is kind of meant to build you, you know, in a sense. So, you know, being an entrepreneur is definitely difficult, but if I could go back, I wouldn't change nothing. I would still do it the same way, 100%. You know what I mean? Your ideas and what you want life to be can be what it is, but you just can't make excuses. Like, you got to get up every fucking day. You got to go out and you got to get it, period.
If you don't get it, it's not going to get done. At the end of the day, you see, it's I'm glad you're saying that, because you got a lot of younger artists who, you know, figure, hey, all I gotta do is just put my music up and just put a couple posts up. And
that's a mistake of a younger artist, because a younger artist, like, and we've all been younger in our ways, where it's like you just want to walk in the room and feel like all you want to do is create music, right? But you don't understand it till you get older, that no one is gonna look out for you like yourself. Right, so you can go and put people in a position, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to figure out how to be a human being at the end of the day. So to the younger artists, it's important, because you have access to the information, to figure out how actually everything works. You know what I'm saying? If you assign someone to a position, you need to figure out how that position works as well, and use it to your advantage. Empower your people, but always, you know, keep an open eye and make sure that it makes sense for yourself.
That's a fact. Now let's get back into the Punchline Academy. Let's talk about the events that we do every Thursday. You know.
Yeah, so I got a free event that goes down to Sampler, Bushwick. I do a free event every single week. We have producer battles. This week I have an open format, open mic, where all genres are invited. It's not only about real lyricism. We play the flute, your dog sing, whatever it is, pull up, do a record. And then, of course, we have what we call the Gauntlet, which is like an all-out war between MCs. Like, you know, they're battling, and I'm making guys dump their rhyme book. I'm making guys dump their rhyme book. But I think ultimately, you know, the goal is to empower people around me, because you can't be strong unless the people around you are strong. Sure. A lot of times we're taught to cuff the information selfishly. So, you know, in the position that I'm in, it's like, you know, let me empower people around me. So that's all the Punchline Academy is about. It's about building a community, and building a community that can support itself.
That's a double.
Like, you don't need, and this is someone coming from radio. You don't need radio. You don't need a record label. You just need them people that's really going to believe in your vision. So that's kind of like what the Punchline Academy is about. Obviously, it's flourishing and it's making its way.
Man, that's dope that you sharing all this information, because, you know, most people in your position, like I said before, they don't give these tidbits. They don't share this information. So it's kind of like the fact that you being unselfish and you willing to go ahead and give this game for free.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing, man. And it shows how much that you bought your money, but also you still love the culture.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
the
passion for the culture is outweighs, you know, the monetary.
Nah, it does. So when I first started DJing, you know, I was like heavy in the strip clubs, like, you know, all the top strip clubs, DJing. You know, I'm on bills with, you know, Flex and Self and these guys, and I was literally unhappy. Like, I made the most money in my life, but I was unhappy because that's not what I wanted to do. At the end of the day, like, you know, I always saw lyricism as a way for artists to express themselves in a poetic way. It's an art form, right? And that's kind of like just taking. You know, I feel like at the end of the day, I've been successful because I've always paid it forward. You know, so like I'm paying it like karma. You know what I mean? Like you do good to somebody, it'll come back. It may not come back at that minute, but it'll come back long term. And, you know, if we can empower one person, then, you know, I'm happy with that.
So, man, we ain't going to keep you that much going, because I know you're a busy person or whatever. So I only got a couple more questions, man. For artists, right? The younger artist who comes up to the infamous Amadeuz and said, "Hey, man, you know, you just said that they don't need radio play, but in their mind they want to get played on the radio anyway." Yeah. And they come up to you. What do you tell them?
You need to stop worrying about the look and start worrying about the result. Like, we're in the era right now where guys just want the result of the look, in a sense, right? It's all about the look. There's no result. You're doing this, you're doing that. You're actually not getting nothing tangible out of it. We got guys with fake blue checks, all types of wild, crazy stuff going on. You got 500 million followers on Instagram. You got 4 likes. You know, you're looking crazy. So it may matter to people that, like, the best advice I can give anyone is, like, there's no point of being the most important person in a room full of unimportant people.
That's a fact.
Like, why do you want to be the most important person in a room full of unimportant people? They can't teach you nothing.
Nothing at all.
Right? Like, why are you worried about having all these likes? Because when you come to someone like me, I'm laughing at you. We're not laughing with you. We got all situations with people right now who got 100,000 followers and got 14 likes. Exactly. So when they go to their projects, it's lit. But when you come to Inphamus Amadeuz, someone that could actually change your life, I'm a W. Like,
each and every time.
Like, it's not real. Like, you know, so, you know, just really, artists need to start focusing on the result. Like, stop focusing on the look. The look is not important. It doesn't actually garner anything that's tangible to you in life.
Man, I appreciate you saying that, man, because a lot of artists nowadays, especially New York artists, are hard-headed.
Not only that, a lot of New York artists are trash. Let's keep it real. Like, let's just keep it all the way 100. A lot of artists are garbage.
He said
like,
it.
You know
I
what
mean,
I'm saying? No, it's real.
I agree.
It's real. I turn down records all day. You trash. Period. Yeah, it's real. Like, you garbage. Like, you know, and a lot of people don't want to say that because they're more worried about the money. Like, even people in my position, they want to get the bag. Oh, son got a bag. Man, fuck your bag. Nigga, I got a bag. Get out of here. Like, kick rocks. Like, if your music is trash, your music is trash.
That's a fact.
It doesn't matter what you do. You could have a country record. If your country record trash, it's garbage.
It's garbage.
Like, get it out of here.
On that note, man, I got 2 more questions to ask. Well, actually, 2 more things. Number 1. Actually, I think you already answered this question, so I'm gonna leave off with this. We in the 50-year anniversary, right? So where you think hip hop is gonna be at 50 years from now?
So ultimately, I think the next wave is lo-fi. You can kind of hear it in the music. It's like a low quality sound of music. It's almost like trap and boom bap combined. So I think lo-fi is the next wave. I don't know where hip hop ultimately is going because hip hop is so unpredictable. Like, hip hop didn't create anything. Hip hop recreated everything. Right, even back to its early stages. You know, even the records that you hear right now, like King Combs' record is out right now. He got Fabulous and A Boogie. It's a recreation of a recreation because they didn't actually even sample the original song. I heard Prince say that one time in an interview. Like, we're gonna get to the point where you're sampling the sample, right? This is what's happening right now. Like, you're watching kids sample the sample, right? So we got to get some younger minds in here that's willing to be educated to understand. Like, you don't got to go create that joint and go back to the original. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't recreate someone coming in the studio and creating a real bass line.
Nah, you can't.
You can't recreate someone coming in and doing the drums. Like, you're doing synthetic stuff.
Nah,
and
that's a fact.
Again, it just needs more people that's willing to educate. But people don't want to empower people because, again, we from low poverty situations, so they don't want you to outshine them.
That's a fact.
So we all in this situation right now in real time. You got people right now that don't want you to outshine them. Let's empower our people and let's make it make sense. So hopefully at some point, hip hop will ultimately regain its glory days when New York identifies with being a New Yorker.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And until then, we'll be in limbo. So as hip hop, it's up to you. You know what I'm saying? When you walk down the street and you feel like you're actually in New York, that's when you know everything is good.
My brother, I appreciate you, man. You dropped a whole bunch of jewels on the people.
Thank you.
Man, tell them what, give them the website where they could get the merch and everything and updates on all the new show.
Yeah, no doubt. So www.theinfamousamadeus.com. Of course, listen to me on SiriusXM Shade 45 every single Thursday. Noon EST for the new hip hop picks. 3 p.m. EST for the throwback classics, and of course the Punchline Academy at 2 p.m. And man, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. And Angela, I apologize. I forgot to plug in the station. Please don't kill me. WACR 90.3 FM, WACR 90.3 FM, late night New York.
Wait, hold on. Talk about 93.3 FM. Talk about that station.
Well, City College is a historical station.
Yeah. But how historical? Do you know the station that you're on right now?
I understand.
Do you know, like, the station that you're on right now is from, like, we have a weird connection because the station that you're on is from the lineage of Stretch and Bobbito. And I work with Lord C, and Lord C was on the Stretch and Bobbito show. So all the legendary rappers of New York City came from that station.
That's
The
a
legendary freestyle that you heard with Jay-Z and Big L is from the station that you on.
That's a fact.
You didn't know that, and you're in the room.
That's
See,
a fact.
you gotta educate yourself, right? So you got a big platform. That's why I came here.
I appreciate you.
Like when she told me, I'm like, I'm definitely pulling up because this is super legendary, right?
Yeah,
so you have a certain
It's a
responsibility.
part of New York history.
You putting all this pressure on me, nigga. You got a certain responsibility. On top of that,
Nah, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you pulling up.
Nah, of course,
I appreciate you
yeah.
showing love, man. I appreciate you dropping that knowledge because, the people need to hear it and the artists definitely need to hear it, man.
Yeah.
So once again, my brother,
thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
WACR
Appreciate it.
9.3 FM.
Thank you.
Y'all
Yeah.
know what it is. King Haas, we out.